And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
After raking it today and looking in the windrows and feeling of it and looking at it and baling it and looking at the bales, I'm a little more pleased with this hay than anticipated. I went into today baling this hay with very low expectations, and it's by no means our high quality hay, but it's a little better than I thought it was. I'm gonna moisture test each one before I store them here. Okay, this one is at 18. Okay, yeah, it's a little bit better hay than I was anticipating. There's some weeds in it, not a lot. Our spraying and routine mowing with a bush hog on it has done some good results. $20.4. That one's a little wetter than the other one. $19.5. It's funny, you can move it 5 inches and get a totally different reading. Okay, that one's 18. 19. 18.3. 17. Okay, this one was all in the teens. Goodness, I'm not quite sure what the density has happened on our baler. Maybe I let it spin too long in the baler, because I had a friend here with me helping me, and we were talking quite a bit. He had never seen one of these mini round balers at work, and I was explaining to him, and while we were baling, and okay folks, we're the hay in our reclaimed hay field has been cut, raked, and baled. I owe apologies for not filming the raking and the baling. I know in the tedding video I said I'd bring y'all along for that, and I'm gonna have to beg for forgiveness. We've shown the degree of slope on this field. There's none of it perfectly level, but some of it's a lot more steep. Is that a word? More steep? A lot steeper than others. And because of that, combine that with a small round bale of hay. When your bale is full and it's twine wrapped and you eject that bale from the baler, it hits the ground, it's round, it will roll. You see where I'm going with this. Gravity will take over straight off this hill. When you get down just a little bit further than I am, this turns really steep. There is our pasture fence right at the bottom of the hill. One of those bales, I knew it was going to happen, excuse me for swatting at the gnats. As soon as I dropped a bale, it was going to take off down the hill, ruin the bale, crash into the fence. It'd just be probably 9 out of 10 of them's going to roll straight off that hill. That's just the way gravity works. So, I was here by myself yesterday on the farm, and I knew these bales were going to roll on me and destroy them, destroy the fence, all sorts of problems. I recruited a really good friend of mine to come help me to catch the bales as they came out. I put him on the ATV just to follow me as I was baling. Every time the alarm would go off and the bale would start twine wrapping, he would just kick the four-wheeler in neutral and jump off of it. And when the bale ejected, he was there to grab this bale and just stand it up to keep it from, or turn it in a way where it couldn't roll off the hill. And I was really grateful for his help. Normally I can bale completely by myself, but in this reclaimed hayfield, anytime this is baled, I'm gonna have to have a tail dragger, kind of what I might call it. I'm gonna have to have a tail dragger to catch these bales because they're gonna take off rolling. And he's camera shy. He don't want to be filmed. He's kind of a private person and really good friend. And to respect his privacy, he was willing to come here and help me for a few hours bale this hay. And out of respect, I told him, don't worry, I'm not going to film you. If you don't want to be on camera, I'll skip it. So we did. And if he's watching this, I'm keeping my word. I'm not going to reveal you, let you stay in secret. So super nice guy. This camera shy, don't want to be on YouTube. So, and I can understand that. So it's not for everyone. So I apologize. I didn't film any raking or baling. Raking it, I had talked about that could be an issue. And I sit down and studied this field, how I could rake this, and I figured out a way to keep my rake on the uphill side, and it worked good. I'm proud to say it raked well. I think I have a picture of the windrows that I will insert right here. Okay, you can see it raked well. We got quite a bit of windrows at it, but we knew the yield was going to be very low. I knew that coming in because we had bush hogged this field 5.5 to 6 weeks earlier, and we've done no amendments to this soil back here yet. All we've done up to this point is weed control. We've done no amendments to the soil to strengthen our cool season grasses. There's been no fertilize, nothing like that on this field in years. That's fixing to change this winter, but we knew the yield was going to be low, and I had very low expectations of how much hay we were going to get off this field. However, the hay we were going to get off this field now was just a bonus. We had very minimal expectations for any of the hay. The main reason we done this was very beneficial to this field. There is a ton of biomass and old clippings where we bush hogged all summer, and the year before, and the year before. There is 3 years worth of biomass down in this soil and sod. Tons of it. Putting more on it was only going to make our frost seeding this winter more difficult for that seed to be able to penetrate. So I think it was a win-win. We got an excess of this organic material that would have went down in the soil off the field, and someone's going to get some hay for their goats. It was a win-win. The quality of the hay was a little better than I expected. Still not quite high quality hay by no means. Has a weed load, not a great weed load. Our mowing and clipping back here and spraying is showing promising results, very promising. We still got a weed load, but I think we're getting down to where that's starting to get manageable. We can start doing something with that now. It's getting lower and lower. Every time we've bush hogged it, sprayed it, the weed load is getting less and less and less. Weeds are evil. Okay, so I'll take you a quick look at the grass here. After the hay's off of it, I'm quite pleased. The hay quality that we got off of it, and there wasn't a lot of it, I think I'm just probably gonna donate this to the folks that need the hay for goats, because there's not much of it. It's minimal, and the yield was very low, and the quality is mediocre. I originally, after we cut it, I thought it'd be mediocre or lower, but after looking at this hay in the windrows and picking it up and looking at it, I'd say it was mediocre hay. But still yet, it was a huge benefit for us to get it off this field. So I'll probably just donate it to them. Tell them Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday. Okay, folks, I'm right here at a place in the field. Okay, here's what I was talking about with so much organic material already down in this sod. Okay, here's some Kentucky bluegrass. Here's some orchard grass. Okay, I'm gonna rake some of this away. I want you to look. Look when I pull it. See how much of that brown dead clippings are down in there? Look at that. I mean, I can just keep pulling it out from under there. It's down in on the sod. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. Right in there is the topsoil. Right in this hole. Okay, all that right there come out of that. There is a ton of biomass, organic material that is number one. It's going to feed this soil this winter. There's going to be snow and rain, freezing, thawing. This stuff is going to decompose down into the soil to make our soil richer, to feed future grass for our hay production. It's a win-win, but there was so much of this from 3 years worth of bush hogging that adding more to it was just going to be detrimental to our frost seeding endeavor this winter. So it was good to get it off. Takeaways from this for our reclaimed hay field is 2 thumbs up. Very needful. Regardless of the hay, that was really not the issue of the quality of the hay or how much, or of course I'd like to get those folks as much hay as I could, but off this, and I did. If I would have known this was coming along 5.5 weeks ago, I would have just left it. I wouldn't have bush hogged it, and I would just let it grow, so I cut it for hay. But plans change. Day to day on a farm, plans change sometimes, and week to week or whatever. But regardless, this was good for our field. Really good. This hay field is going to be a fantastic addition to our current hay production. I'm sure of that. This is going to take some sweat equity. We still have to frost seed, soil samples, amendments, whatever that soil sample tells us to do, and attention to it. Keeping an eye on it and mowing it when it needs it. Weed control, we still got some weed control to do. But like I said a few minutes ago, our weed control to this point I'm pleased with. Every time we mowed, bush hogged this field and sprayed it, afterwards the weed load was getting less and less and less, and I'm happy about that. So I've had some comments about why don't I mow this hayfield up and down. You can mow up and down easier than you can side hill. Okay, here's the problem why I cannot do that. We have a fence line and then woods at the bottom of this pasture. I've set up a level, and this camera is dead level, and you can see how far up in the trees level is, all the way to about right there. Okay, according to the bubble on the level, that's level. Okay, now I'm gonna pan down slowly. You can see just how steep this is. Okay, you can see all the way down to that fence line. Right there. Okay. And at the very bottom, there's nowhere to turn around. You're still on the slope when you hit the fence line. So there's nowhere to go down there. If you backed down it, you'd have to pull up and back down, pull up. There's nowhere to turn. You'd have to try to turn on a very steep slope, and that's not doable. So that's one reason we have been side hilling this. When you go down the hill, there's nowhere to turn. When you go down, you got to have a landing place to go down and then level out where you could get turned and come back up. Here, there's nowhere to do that. You go straight off, and while you're still on that steep slope, you hit a fence. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to turn and nowhere to land. So it's got to be side hilled. And we can only side hill so far until it gets too dangerous to our tractor. We'd be in a rollover situation. So I just thought I'd explain that real quick, why we're not mowing this, raking it up and down. We have to side hill it. That's the only way we can. And that's why. It's working though. We're just not able to cut as far as I'd like to. But what we can cut and maintain is going to be a good addition. We've got a lot more, probably 4 more acres down here, 3 acres at least, maybe 4, that is prime grass, but it's pasture. It's too steep to hay on. Thanks for being with us today on the farm. Apologies again for not filming the raking and baling, but out of respect for a good friend, I honor what I told him, and we didn't film it. So it is what it is, but the hayfield's looking great. Reclaiming a hayfield is work, but it's working. Thanks for being with us here today on the farm. Enjoy your family, enjoy your friends. I pray that God blesses you and your family. Hope you have a great, great evening.